Hey guys, Marsingin here, bringing you a Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so now we are going to jump into the new Blue Zone, the new Supreme Magnificent Battle, the Next Generation Saiyans edition. This is the event that everyone has been going crazy about. Apparently this is a whole new level of power creep. I've seen all sorts of comments like that, people not expecting there to be new hardest fights in the game, like with this final part of the GDC. I've seen people clip farming, like post on Twitter and stuff of like all the units from the GDC pretty much getting annihilated by bosses in this fight. Loads of people saying that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is washed and like, you know, look at Gogeta 2 weeks as being the best unit in the game and now he's not anymore and all this kind of crazy stuff. So I have yet to experience it for myself. So we are going to go ahead and jump in. Now, I know most people are talking about Stage 2 and Stage 3. Stage 1 versus Goten I don't think is supposed to be that difficult. In terms of missions, there are no specific missions for using a specific category or anything like that. We just have to beat the event within 5 turns. Now, I don't want to go ahead and use the, like all of the units, like all the new units, all the best teams, because I feel like that is a bit much. But then I guess at the same time, maybe we could try this one. Because yeah, like using one of the GDC characters, like I've said this before, right? When it comes to difficult events, sometimes you just kind of have to go all out and get the W. But like, when it comes to these videos, I want them to be an example of showing what the event actually is, like me legitimately playing it and hopefully getting through it like for the first time. But I want, you know, them to also be useful for people to see different team builds and other things, whether they can look at those and go, oh, okay, like I could build a team similar to that, right? So it's always a bit more difficult when you're jumping into these like difficult events and it's like I'm using a team that is like all 4 of the GDC characters all on the same team, because plenty of people aren't going to be able to recreate a team like that, right? So I'm always kind of torn between the way of doing that for these videos, whether we just jump in with like the literal best possible team. Now the thing you have to remember with the these Blue Zone stages is they do have limited event attempts per day, so things like trying to not use your best team or like trying to not use items as like an extra challenge or something like that, that's all well and good for like the first couple of attempts, and then often it can be a case of you get to the point that's like, oh okay, this is like my last attempt for the day, I probably should like bust out a support memory and an item or something maybe to see if we can get through. But like I said, I'm not sure about Goten. Let's actually get Goten's stats up here. So Goten phase 1, nothing really too great. I mean, he supers for 3 million damage considering it's just the first fight phase 1 and it's 3 mil, like straight up. He doesn't really have any other special abilities. Well, he gets 50% extra attack each turn, up to 100%. So actually, like on turn 3, he's going to be doing like 6 million damage. Well, actually, I think someone told me from the passive, the attack up is only, it works off of their normal attack, not their super attack. So he'd actually be getting about 700k per turn. But that still puts him up to doing like 4.4 million. I mean, Gotenks there taking 180k from the super, non-Ki Blast. The second phase Goten does do a Ki Blast super though, so Gotenks is going to be pretty well suited here. Obviously Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta counters Ki Blast super attacks. In fact, what are the... I think the big thing is people are concerned about like the normals, right? Because I think, if I double check here, yeah, the 3 bosses for these 3 stages, they all do Ki Blast super attacks as their second phase. But bosses now are starting to hit so hard, like even with their normal attacks, that's where the issue is coming in, right? Because like all of these guys have a sort of build-up mechanic, like this Goten building up to 100% attack. He does 1.3 million damage with his normals. So after his passive is fully built up, he's actually doing 2.6 million with normal attacks. So for some characters, like even just being sat in slot 1, that could potentially be an issue if it is a normal. Like even Tech Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, right? He gets that massive defense buff when he gets hit with a super, and he gets quite a lot of defense on super attack himself. But as a slot 1 unit, he's aged quite quickly, because as bosses are doing like much harder hitting normal attacks, he's taking a lot of damage in slot 1 if he gets hit with a normal. If he gets hit with a super first and he gets that big defense proc, that can change things up a little bit. But yeah, these bosses are starting to do a lot of damage with their normal attacks. And then this phase 2 that we're going to start here now for Goten, his starting super attack damage is basically 4 million, but he greatly raises attack for 1 turn. So his super attack actually is like 6 million. And then his passive, he gets 90% attack with each turn passed, up to 450. So a couple of turns in, he's already going to be hitting for like 7 or 8 million, which is kind of wild. Let's see. So in terms of tanking here, these guys are going to be not great for taking a super. We know that Gotenks will be fine, so I guess I'll just do this. Because obviously Goku gives the big defense buff and then obviously has the dodge. So we'll do that. But yeah, when it comes back to what I was saying about like using teams that are not all the new characters, this team has a couple of 10th anniversary units on it, but we only have one of the Global Dokkan campaign characters, which is the Blue Goku and Vegeta. And realistically, if you have been saving your stones, as you should, for some of these bigger celebrations, hopefully most people with the stones they gave out during the celebration, they've given out over 1,000 stones with the celebration. So hopefully if you saved up and you know, had the odd few units you could trade in for pity coins and all that kind of stuff, hopefully everybody should have been able to get at least one of the Global Dokkan campaign units. And then obviously there were the free tickets, which gave you the 44% chance. I got lucky with my first set and not with the second one, but I mean, I'll still take that, right? A free GDC headliner off of the tickets. I got the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, so obviously very happy with that. So I think using a team that has one of the headliners on it is not exactly the biggest, like, you know, oh, you're using a team that not everyone can make kind of thing. So, oh, Goten can be attack lowered as well. Okay, he can be attack and defense lowered in both phases. That's interesting. Because the thing is with some of these bosses, like, lowering their attack is helpful for dealing with some of these big damage normal attacks, but like, super attacks are still going to do a lot of damage, especially with characters who do raise attack on their super attack effect. Like, attack lowering doesn't really have that much of an impact on them. You can hit them with like multiple attack lowering attacks and then they still super for pretty reasonable damage, especially when these guys, especially like Goten, when he has a couple of turns build up, for example, is hitting you for like 8 million. But yeah, Gotenks, look at that. Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks taking the super in slot 3. So he takes double digit damage because he's basically invincible to keep our super attacks. Gets the counter as well for a nice little bit of extra free damage. The only issue probably here is the Daima Vegeta, if I'm being completely honest. We do at least have the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I should probably keep him on the rotation as well, just so we have more chance of getting the Azaru here. So we'll do this and then do this, I guess. Because yeah, he does build up pretty decent amount of attack overall, because 90% with each turn passed. That means his normal attacks, even pre-super, are still doing like 2.2 odd million on the second turn. Then that's going to jump up again and be like over 3.5. So I think the key, what it seems like from what I've seen people saying, and even from some of the screenshots I've seen of people posting off their actual clears, it does seem like the sort of full, almost like blitz strategy is the way to go. Because I think all of these guys, I don't know about Trunks, all of these guys seem to have a thing where they build up over multiple turns. So obviously the quicker you're able to get them done, the better, right? And not give them the chance to get all this like crazy build up. So I think we'll see how we go. I mean, we can transform with the gods on the next turn. Goku obviously still is in a good spot for slot 1. Obviously he will kind of be relying on dodge on the next turn, I think, because now we're getting on to turn 3. So like I say, this Goten is going to be hitting for like, what, 6-7 million, maybe more with his super now. Yeah, physical Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, getting some damage in here. I don't know how well he's going to tank this, you know. Yeah, he's not. Jeez, okay. Okay, so we're back to the second phase here. I've swapped out the team for the STR Goku Vegeta team themselves, since we're using them on the team anyway. I've obviously got both of the 7 years here. I floated off the Int Gogeta on the first turn. I shouldn't have done that. I didn't realise the rotation we were going to have set up. Now, Vegeta and Trunks are going to be in an interesting spot here, because I know people, there's been mixed things about their EZA. I think they're very, very good. Well, they have a lot of potential, but with the way these events seem to be structured, with the ability for these bosses to do some crazy damage to you, like right out of the gate, I'm not sure how good these guys are going to be potentially. I mean, ideally for them, they really want to be on like the first turn against the base Goten, so they can get a bit of build up before we get to the like more powerful phase. But I guess it is what it is, right? So they only got one attack as well, so I really didn't want to put them in slot 2. I wasn't really sure what to expect, especially you don't want them eating a super on like their first turn. At least we can get a little bit of attack lowering here from the Gokus. We've still got Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks on the team. I took off the AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta just because, again, what I was saying before, like using one GDC unit on the team, I think is a good level of challenge and a good level of like a team that other people. I mean, you know, you may have got one of the GDC units and it wasn't Goku, but whichever one you did get, that's the team I would say you probably want to be prioritizing using in these tougher stages. I think the Omega team will be really, really good in this fight because there's lots of attack lowering on that team. Obviously, he has the action break on his 18 key super. If you've got Rosé's really good on Omega's team and he lowers attack on his 12 key. Like, I think Omega's team's probably, from what I've seen people saying and like screenshots I've seen of people's clears and stuff, I think the Omega team is actually one that's done really, really well in these stages. But yeah, like that's the year 7 Super Saiyan 4s on their first turn. Now bear in mind, they don't have Saiyan Raw or anything active here, but they have 77% damage reduction and guard, and they still took 150k from that super, which is kind of crazy. So let's do this. I'm a bit worried about the blues, because obviously if they take a super here, that's going to be really bad. But they're already at 1,000,000 defense. They're going to get a buff from the blue Goku when he supers. We haven't got great key for the Gotenks here either, which is annoying. We make do with what we got. So Goku getting the 18 key off here, obviously giving everybody extra defense. Then we get the 12 key lower attack. This means the little bit of attack lowering that we do have on the team means we don't have to worry as much about like pre-super normals. Because obviously this Goten greatly raises attack on his super, which means all of his post-super normals do more damage. But yeah, the pre-super normals, the fact that he's being attack lowered, everyone on the team should be able to tank them relatively fine. But yeah, the thing is, always been the case, even though their EZA is really, really good, the Gods and the Super Saiyan 4s have the same issue that they did on release, where like their second turn is the most risky for them. Because then obviously if we really want to, on the next turn we can just transform them, and then we get not only the 77% damage reduction again, but also the fact that the Gods have the really high dodge chance. But yeah, see, like they're not even taking double-digit damage from the normals, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, that's pretty wild. I don't know if Goten like always supers in slot 3. I think. Oh, okay, yeah, no, he always supers in slot 3. Okay, I've just seen that on the Dokkan info thing, so that's useful to know. He always supers in slot 3, so obviously Gotenks there, we know is going to get the counter. That does give us a little bit of safety, I guess, then for the rest of the rotations, because we know like we're going to be able to only be taking normals at these earlier parts. I mean, I guess we just use Vegeta here. Use the active skill in slot 3, right? Get the extra attack. Put him in slot 1. And then obviously, ideally, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta just counters the super at the end if he's even still alive, which I feel like he won't be after this rotation now, right? Like, I've got the 24 key with you. Grab those for you. And then grab those for you. And then this should be GG. Because with the attack lowering that we've already put onto him, yeah, Vegeta and Trunks will tank in slot 1 perfectly fine. Okay, so that's interesting to know. We've only just learned that here right at the end. But yeah, so Super Saiyan Goten Phase 2 always supers in slot 3. So that kind of helps you with how to build the team, I guess. Make sure you've got people that are tanking or like countering Ki Blast supers or something like that, right? In slot 3, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, again, super valuable for this. Any of these guys that are countering supers, obviously very valuable for this as well. So that's pretty good. Vegeta obviously going to get guaranteed crits on this turn because we did the active skill in slot 3. It's got the extra like attack buff here as well. Yeah, so Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta might actually finish him off, depending on... His attack's effective against all types, right? Depending on whether he gets a couple of supers off here. Yeah, 40 million. I think we should be fine. Because obviously this Gogeta doesn't have Saiyan Raw, so we don't need to worry too much about him not being on the rotation with other Super Saiyan 4s. But yeah, we get the double super into the 42 mil, and then that's enough to finish off Goten here. So yeah, I mean, this one, I guess, has a little bit of challenge to it, but now that we realise, of course, that he's always going to super in slot 3, that does mean you can at least have a strategy, like have a plan to try and get around getting completely destroyed by this guy, because we know where he's going to super attack. So that's definitely very, very helpful. But there we go. So that's stage 1 versus Goten. That's both of the missions done. It's literally just beat stage 1 and beat stage 1 in 5 turns. So yeah, I guess we will go ahead and move on to the second stage, which is versus Trunks, which I think is supposed to be a little bit more difficult. And this one does have a mission for using a couple of specific characters as well. So we'll go ahead and jump into that in the next one. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.